Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome to the Pivotal Podspective. This is the show where we get extraordinaires from all over the globe to chat with us. In fact, we're here in Essex today, as it's Essex Business Radio, so it's very apt. But we get people to chat with us, and you and everybody that joins all over the place to come up with pivotal ideas. And it's, in fact, ways they have that are pivotal that can help everybody to adopt, adapt, and improve personally and professionally. I'm your host, Elliot Brown, here with my co-host, of course,
Adrian,
swinging on his chair, and our guest franchise extraordinaires, Vicki Fletcher and Lucy. Oh, wait a second. Huartson. Wait, how'd you say it?
That's good enough.
Do you know, I really apologise, Lucy. I should have asked you before we started recording, and I meant to, and we got carried away messing about with the frame around. How you doing, guys?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you.
Good, thank you.
So I'm not worried about you, Adrian. No, how do you pronounce your second name? Because it's Huartson. It's
Huartson, apparently.
Huartson,
but
right.
There you go.
Huartson, yeah.
Yeah, excuse him. He's not really British, so he doesn't know how to properly pronounce names.
Global.
Yeah.
Global. Well, listen, anybody that's listening to this, we have two guests on this evening. We have had two guests on before, but they've been on one screen. So if you have never seen this, then I urge you to go over to YouTube or check us out Tuesday, Wednesdays and Thursdays. We're live across multiple profiles and platforms, and we'll give you those details at the end of the show. But this evening, so this is the first time we've done this. So hi, Vicky, down here. And then let me get this right. And I'm going to turn my finger that way. And Lucy's over here.
Yeah.
So guys, Vicky, you are the founder of Little City.
Yes.
And Lucy, you are one of the first franchisee, right?
I'm the second by a few days. Yeah.
Oh, really? What happened to the first? Did they not want to come on?
It wasn't a race. Well, because you're Essex Business Radio, she lives in Suffolk, so it's slightly.
Oh, I see. Very apt. We're keeping it in Essex. I like it.
Exactly.
Well, listen. Rather than me tell everybody what Little City is about, you tell us, how this came about, what Little City is about, and the whole franchising that you sort of that you turned it into, Vicky.
Cool. So we opened in October 2017.
Yeah.
I had a very well-paid, lovely job that I very much enjoyed in central London. I had a beautiful office on the Thames. It was great. And I gave it all up to hang out with kids. So as you do. No, I was sick of commuting. I'd been doing it for 12 years.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't do it anymore. I had two children, small children at home, and it just wasn't working. So I had this crazy idea one evening, and I presented it to my husband, over a glass of wine. And he didn't say no. So it's his fault. We blame it for everything.
Was it on the first glass of wine, or was it after like a bottle?
There was a couple for sure. There was, I drawn it very sketchily.
I'm interested. That was the first idea ever that you presented to him, or you had others before?
No, this is the first time I had it, and I think it was and that's where the Little City idea came from. That was literally me walking through the city to get to work, going, I don't want to do this anymore. Right. So what Little City is, it's mobile role play for the under 5s and 6s. So we have literally a city, a child-sized city in the back of our vans.
Uh-huh.
And we go to community centres, village halls, church halls. We set up the city, and then children and their parents come along to explore, learn, play. They can be whatever they want to be. So they come in. We've got a mini supermarket and a hairdressers and a vets. And all these things the kids have seen their parents do 100 times, but they get to do it safely at their own height. And there's nothing they can't touch and explore and investigate. So they are literally pushing the trolley around the supermarket and getting it from the shelves. They are operating on the cat in the vets. They are, brushing the hair of the lady in the hairdressers. They can do it all. And it's a lot of fun, but so I don't know, apart from fun, it's learning and it's exciting for them. And it's good fun for us as well.
So real interactive playtime. So,
Yes.
but sort of real. I mean, they do something similar, do they not? In some of the shopping centres, you have like these sort of small, small. So I think isn't it down in White City? What's the yeah? Is it that sort of thing? Is it?
I'm a business goals right there. I'd love to be that, but this is a much smaller version of. I've been to Kidzania. It's nuts, but this is very much a more local aspect. We can go out to our customers. They don't have to travel too far. So, for example, I go out to Brightlingsea, right on the Essex coast. There's not a lot going on there, but I have a real core of customers who and mums who are like, there's nothing here. We don't drive. I can't get into Colchester. So we go to them and they're like, this is great. Our kids are loving it. We're loving it. They can have a cup of tea and they get to play with their kids, which they might not have an opportunity to do normally. They get that dedicated hour and 15 minutes to play and enjoy their children.
Very cool. I didn't realize I was using that as an example so people sort of get what it is. But obviously, you've got, in essence, a portable version. You can take it to people and, and we're going to talk about what's where the world is now and how that's sort of come back and how you've pivoted over the last few months as well. So Lucy, what was the interest that sort of got you in? Did you know each other beforehand? I mean, how did that sort of come about?
No, not at all. So I was about 8.5 months pregnant with my second child, but went to one of Vicky's sessions with my 5-year-old son, and basically just fell in love with it, really. I was obviously on maternity from my previous role, which was managing a nursery, but having teaching experience as well as that nursery manager experience, I could just see just the fantastic learning benefits to it, and just how it was. I've never seen a class where siblings can enjoy it just as much as each other, and they can get out just as much. And actually parents were joining in and having fun as well, which was just so lovely. So literally asked Vicky there and then, are you thinking of franchising? Which and after about 3 months of hounding her, she said yes. So
and when did you become the franchisee?
So I launched in May 2019. So just over a year ago.
Oh, very cool. And so you've been running it for a sort of a year and getting the whole thing going, and then sort of okay, very, very cool. Listen, we've just got a couple of people that are saying hi here, so we like to bring them into the show. Hopefully we're not going to get rid of you both. It's going to cover you. Oh no, there we go. Anna Victoria, hi Anna Victoria. Is that one of your franchisees?
She's one of our team. She's our newest team member in Norfolk.
Hi Anna, thanks very much for joining us. And we've also got Kate Powell as well.
Which I think she was the first franchisee. No, that's why she's here.
Yeah.
Hi Kate. Sorry you can't be with us. Maybe when we become Suffolk Business Radio,
we'll do it then. Absolutely.
And we've also, it's my mum come to say hello to us all. She's
Hi
mum.
Hello Elliot, mum.
Of course. And we've got Adele Wang saying hi to both of us, and not you guys. I mean, that's a bit rude, isn't it?
We'll wave anyway.
Hi Adele. Yeah,
Louise Wallace saying hi guys. Thanks very much for joining Louise. And we've got everybody saying hi. Anna Victoria, hey, how you doing? Thanks everybody for joining us, watching or listening. I'm saying listening as well because this will get turned into an audio podcast. So just so you guys know, it's not just going to be this. You're going to get a second round of interest when this goes up as an audio podcast, probably in September now. So you probably listen to this in September. Okay, cool. So listen, I love the idea. I love the concept. It clearly works. You've got 10 in essence franchise is. So right now I want to talk about this because franchising is not the easiest thing to do, is it, Vicky? You must have had to go through a few hurdles to do that. And I think lots of people that set a business up and come up with an idea and then they think, oh yeah, franchising is a great idea and there's shows you can go to and it make it all look so easy. But actually it's really easy because most of them have got a franchise already and they just want to sell you a franchise. So they've done all the paperwork, the legalities and all of that. How did you find that process, Vicky?
Long. I've learned a lot. So I didn't set out. My main mission starting in the city was to spend more time with my children. That was it, and to earn enough money for myself that I can help pay the bills and the mortgage. There was no end goal of franchising or anything like that. But about sort of 10 months in, I was struggling to keep up with the demand.
Right.
And I was going into Chelmsford. I was doing Colchester and Chelmsford. And Chelmsford just blew my mind. I was like, I can't keep up with this. I need someone else.
Yeah.
I've had, spent 12 years in HR teams. I do not want to recruit anyone ever. I don't want to employ someone. I can do that. Oh, I hate employing. It's hard. It's horrible. So I had a lot of people coming to me and go, are you a franchise? Because with uniforms, I'd paid a lot of money for a website. I'd made it look total package. And I was like, no, I haven't. So I actually spoke to another franchise team who are based out of Colchester, and they've got like 40 franchisees across the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a good hour and a half FaceTime with them. And I said, look, can I do this? How does this work? What's involved? And they sat me down. They were, really clear. You need a damn good accountant. You need a really good solicitor, and you need to get all this stuff in place first before you do it. So I did a lot of research, took out a big fat loan, and I was like, right, let's do this. Let's go for it. What I learned was there are quite a lot of solicitors out there about franchising who want to teach you to suck eggs, and they patronize me. I had a whole meeting with one guy who told me how to write a manual. And I was like, I've spent 12 years in the city in learning and development in HR. I know how to write a manual, but you didn't listen to me to start with. So that was frustrating. Legal side of it, I knew nothing either. But I've been really, really lucky to be signposted. So I have 3 different solicitors now. I have one who looks after my trademark stuff. I have one who looks after the copyright and the intellectual property. And I have one who looks after the franchise manuals and all that legality, privacy policies, all those sorts of things that I knew nothing about, but now I know lots about. So it's really learning on the fly. Yeah. Would I recommend it? I love it. I love it. I've loved the team that I've got now, the ideas that have come through just in the last 5 months since we've been locked down. We have changed so much about the business. I don't think, maybe one of those ideas has come from me. The rest has come from the team. And I know I couldn't do that if they were my employees, if that makes sense. They are brought into this business and they live and breathe it perhaps more than I do.
They've put their skin in the business, haven't they? So when they come up with something, it's worthy to listen to, and of course it's going to benefit everybody. I'm assuming by the sounds of it, everybody's come up with ideas. You obviously work well together. Does it matter to you, Vicki, who the franchisee is when they come to you? Do you sort of vet them? I mean, how does that work? Has it been quite a friendly process so far?
It's been quite organic, I think, from my point of view. I haven't had to advertise much at all. It's mostly parents who have come to our sessions and gone, "Wow, this is cool. Can I be involved?" And I've gone on gut feeling. I'll be honest. There's no process. There should be, and there will be, but mostly it's been, "Am I going to get on with this person?" Because I can teach you how to do social media. I can teach you the other stuff. It's putting a city together, but can you talk to parents? Can you talk to customers? Can you deal with kids? And that is one of my big elements of it. And they've got to have a bit of entrepreneurial stuff in them, because if not, they wouldn't be asking me that question. They ask me the right questions. I'm like, yes, I can work with you. Let's do this together. And people like Lucy bring in their school and educational background that I don't necessarily have, the childcare background, and that enhances it for everybody as well.
And Lucy, you must have a network of parents that you're close to, so that they become clients in essence as well. Is that how you sort of built things? I mean, tell me how you've sort of taken it and gone, you know what, I like this, but actually turned it into a business. And obviously with the guidance of Vicki, but you've made it work as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there are a lot of families that were at my nursery that do come, but I think the way I looked at it was when sort of I was starting to build the Facebook and Instagram pages, which obviously was from scratch. Just treating it like a bit of a journey, thinking, if I saw a new business opening, what would I want to see? And I want the honesty and the sort of the real things that happen along the way to opening a business. So, I document when I went on my first aid training, I document maybe a certain type of toy that I bought, or actually give them a choice of what types of things that I might be purchasing, so that I tried to sort of build that rapport and that relationship from the get-go, really. So that it wasn't just sort of one day, wow, she's open, but there actually was, a bit of a journey along the way that they could come on with me. And from there, I think that the following grew massively even before the first event. So by the time it came to selling those first tickets, they sold out in about 8 minutes.
Wow.
So
The Beyonce of Little City.
well, I was lucky that obviously Vicki had built that initial client base and people were talking about it anyway. But yeah, it continued to grow from there.
Yeah, cool. We've got Jenny, who's been on the show. Actually, the last series of shows I did. Hi, Jenny. Saying hi to Christina. Thanks for joining us. So you get going. You've got this whole thing rolling, and then within 6 months, whatever, we have a massive shift in the world, and we've got lockdown appears and and COVID and all sorts of things that really must have put like a massive restriction on what you were doing. How did you deal with that, guys? I mean, Vicki, Lucy, whoever wants to speak first, because you've got two different elements. You've got it from the top and running the whole thing, Vicki, and sort of obviously putting, I suppose, all your franchisees at ease and trying to, sort of say, what are we going to do with this? And I suppose you must have all maybe come together. I mean, tell me how that worked.
Well, I think I'm sorry, Lisa, I've jumped to that. I've gone through the grief cycle about 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
That first evening, it was March 16th. I'd run my last event. That's the last time I worked. And on that Tuesday, this is it. This is done. And we had we failed on technology. Who knew what Zoom was on March 17th? I had no idea. So we tried to have a WhatsApp call for all 10 of us, and that didn't work. And then we cried, and we did all of that. And it's been really hard because we were going on average, but across the 10 of us, we had about over 1,200 children playing a week at our various events.
Okay, wow.
To literally nothing in one fell swoop. We had bookings, we had birthday parties booked up. All these kids that we can't help anymore, and it was horrid. And I felt very, very responsible. And I've been honest with the team. I hope I have been honest, that I can't physically do anything for them. All of them, including Lucy, had less than a year of being self-employed. So there's no help from the government. I'm very lucky that I'm an employee of the company, so I've got to furlough myself. So that money's been helping me keep the business alive and tick along. I've still got legal fees and all those sorts of things to pay out, but the team have had nothing. And I think that was horrible. It was the cliff edge, but it's also meant that the team have been really creative in some of the thoughts and ideas. And that, linking with your pivot topic, that's where this has come in, and that's how we've changed and adapted as much as we possibly could.
So what was the first thing you did, Lucy, to sort of start taking on board what had happened and start coming up with ideas to adapt and to pivot in what was everybody says unprecedented times, which they are, but we had no view of what was going to happen, how it was going to happen. First of all, we probably all a little bit blasé, going, it'll only last a month or whatever, and then it goes on and on and on. It's still bloody going on. But what did you do? What was the first things of the ideas that people came up with of what you could do with your time?
I think there, after that initial 3 weeks, when actually we realised, okay, we are actually going to be in this for much longer than we initially thought. We just started throwing ideas around of what we could do. First, looking at if there was anything virtual we could do, because obviously a lot of businesses like ours, that was what they did, and some were amazingly quick in turning that around. Yeah. But what is the heart and the essence of Little City? Is it tangibility? So we kept sort of butting our heads against a brick wall, really, with being able to offer anything online. We did, straight away start up lots of lovely ideas for parents to do at home with their little ones that were relatively easy to do. And because we were all going through that grief and that stress ourselves, sure, had husbands who were still working full time at home. Some of us, had that other partner there. We all had, experience in what it felt like to be parents just trying to keep their little ones entertained. It was then when Vicki sort of started talking about, well, we've got these most amazing resources and toys just sat, sad in our vans, not doing anything. And they would bring so much joy to children at home. So it was when sort of the takeaway businesses started getting going again, and we were judging that would be the safe and right time to do it, that Vicki said, well, let's do home hire role play sets. And basically split all of our areas. So we split it into a vet set, a doctor's set, a hairdresser's set, and essentially we came up with a safe procedure of which we could hire those out for a 2-day period at a time. And have a sort of a non-contact drop-off, and then pick up afterwards and have sort of safe periods in between where the toys were cleaned and weren't used.
Okay.
So yeah, and it was amazingly popular, really, really good.
So let me just explain quickly, because I've seen this, and if people are listening to this, in essence, you can split these off, but actually, when you have them in a hall, they're sort of linked, aren't they? So you almost have like cross sections, walls going across. So you've, in essence, I'm trying to think of the best way of explaining this. You'll have a wall down the middle with cross sections, and each one of those are then set up into rooms. So there's sort of a three-sided room, right?
Exactly. It's giving us it's a backdrop or a scene, as you were, almost like a theatre. It looks like a hairdresser's, and it looks like a doctor's surgery for the child, and it's all at their height and their level, and all very bright colours.
Yeah. Cool. So that must have worked quite well. I mean, but because people were dying for things to do with their kids, and there's families of 3 or 4 kids that they're going to get bored, stuck in the house all the time. So that must have been a bit of quite a nice relief, and something different as well. I mean, I don't suppose there was anybody else really doing anything quite like that out there, was there?
No, not as far as we knew. And there was another franchise team. They were doing painted pottery, so they were dropping off and doing home hires and those sorts of things, which worked really well as well. And I think it's just boredom busting, and we really, and Lucy especially, and a couple of the other team members tapped into the birthday market. So all these kids, my daughter being one of them, are having a lockdown birthday. My team member in Braintree and the girl in Suffolk as well, where they hooked up with local sweet companies or local other companies, balloons and things, so we could do a whole birthday package, not just of our toys, but they get other bits as well. And it worked really, really well, because people wanted to spoil their children who haven't been able to do much. We couldn't go to the parks for the first few weeks. We couldn't go out, give the kids something to do. And so it was really nice. And it was so lovely. And Lucy said, seeing those customers on the doorsteps, a lot of our regulars, it was just that, thank you, hi guys. And it was so nice to see those little smiley faces. They recognize us, we're in our uniforms. And seeing them was just that communication, that human element of it as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So massively, Mavity, you had to pivot your business. You had to really adopt and adapt to new ways, didn't you? And you've improved that business as well. I use adopt, adapt, improve quite a lot, but it sort of goes together quite well in this scenario. So in essence, you've changed the way the business is done. I'm assuming you can still do those hauls, or is it now that the business has become delivering to people's homes for a couple of days? Is that now how it's evolving? Is that where the business is sort of going for the time being?
For the time we've paused it. I mean, the weather, people don't want toys necessarily coming to their house at the moment. So if we had a good lot of rain, I think we'd be well busy. But everyone's obviously out at the beach and in the parks. We would like to get back to business as normal, whatever that looks like in the new world, as soon as possible. That's how we make our money. But it's also how we engage with our customers most, that they come physically to our events and community centres. I'm not going to lie, I've had a lot of my customers, I don't know if you've had the same, Lucy, saying, are you going to still do this and carry that on along the side? Still hire out the toys, because there will be children who are shielding, perhaps, or people who can't come to our events. Yeah, so that's definitely an opportunity.
Or that they just want to have that at their home anyway. I mean, I would think that would be a very smart thing to do, is to do both. Personally, I mean, if you were to do that as a business and you've got that there, then why not? Why not do that?
Totally, yeah. So there's heaps we can do. I don't know whether it will last long term. I don't know from you, Lucy, but it's managing it as well, and it's also storage. It's a big factor.
Yeah, of course. Managing it, I suppose, if you're all set up to do that in one place and that's what you do, then you're getting everybody to one place. Whereas otherwise, you've got to deliver the stuff, you've got to pick it up, you've got to, and I suppose it's probably easier to get things damaged if you're not there for a couple of days. I wouldn't know, but
I mean, they've been amazing, haven't they? I wouldn't say I've noticed anything become really sort of damaged or changed from before. I think the families that were sort of hiring from us most of the time were ones that had been to classes, so they could see how much we respect, because we do in classes, we're constantly putting things back, resetting things when the children have moved on to the next section. So I think they've seen how much we respect them, so they've done the same. So no, luckily not everything is broken and we had to start again, so no, that's good.
Oh, cool. I want to come on to, and I know Adrian's going to be itching to ask you how you market and stuff like that, so we'll talk about that in a second. But we've got Jenny Walker come. She's just asked a question. Now, this is actually hiding you two guys, if you can peek over the top there. Jenny has a second-hand clothes business in California and very, very successful. But unfortunately, that changed quite rapidly, of course, with lockdown. We talked about franchising or a consignment store, but never saw it through. How long should we be in business before we think about this? Our industry is hot and it might be a nice pivot for us. And then she's asked about legal fees. Now, in the States, it may differ, but they can vary depending on your type of business, right, Vicky?
Of course, absolutely. So the first question, how long should be in business? So I had no concept of how long it should be.
Jenny said luxury consignment, Louis Vuitton, Chanel. All right, do apologise. Not just clothes.
Second-hand rich people's clothes, but yeah.
I was in business, so 2017, and so I gave up. So I was doing both my normal job and Little City for the first 6 months or so, and then I started looking. It took me a good 9 months from thinking about franchising to actually doing it, because of the legal entrapments that I needed to get in place before I could even talk to people like Lucy and Kate, our other first franchisee. So I don't think, then I've read recently that you should have a successful business for at least 18 months before you start franchising. Is it a proven model and that kind of thing?
All right.
I wouldn't say you do it straight away, absolutely, but I had a good year under my belt before I could actually start talking, and I knew it would work and I could scale it. I think that was the aspect that I've got a loyal, good customer base, and I didn't go too far geographically from where I'd started, so I knew those customers. Selling now on a franchise point out in Norfolk and Cambridge, I've never touched those areas before at all, but I've scaled it locally, and I know that works. Those customers are going to be different in those areas. So I've just got to trust that franchisee that they know their area and they know their customers and will adapt for that, rather than just blanket it's the same model.
But also, if I remember correctly, Vicky, you said that in your case, people ask you if you're a franchisee, or so, almost like Lucy and other people have actually asked you, and they're asking maybe for permission, or if you consider that. I'm not sure if that applies to Jenny as well, but it was a bit a different story to yours, just because people were kind of craving for what you had and what you could offer.
Absolutely,
I mean, Jen, go on.
Sorry, no, legal fees wise. I bumped up my business loan, so that's where I'm still at. And I was estimated roughly about £10,000 to get through all the legal stuff. And then trademarking and copywriting and that kind of thing has been extra that I didn't anticipate. Trademarking has been another whole long exciting story. Not exciting, but it's been a long process. But we're there now.
Exactly, laborious, I would say, maybe rather than exciting.
I think it's maybe the time that you have to wait and all the things and all that till you get the trademark. That's mostly. But again, that depends in each country. US, it's roughly about 9 months, between 9 months and 1.5 years. I'm not sure how much is in UK. In Germany, it's about 2 months or less than that, 1.5 months, 2 months, if you have the right thing. So it just depends wherever you are in the world.
I mean, listen, if you could, there are physical ways you can try and protect yourself in between time while you're waiting for things to go through. And I'm not going to go into all those details, but you can send yourself a letter, for example, with something in it that is sealed and stamped. This is a very simple way of sort of semi-protecting yourself while you're waiting for things to go through. But I'm not going to go into those details right now because I'm no expert in this area. I just know that there are ways that if you've ever had somebody try and take an idea off you, you can safeguard yourself a little bit while you're waiting for stuff to go through on trademarks, etc. We've got another Lizzie Phillips has come on. It's such a great model. It's been a pleasure to see you grow. I know so many business owners who are reluctant to try something new. You're an amazing case study on how you can adapt your business quickly. And then goes on to say, what I thought was clever were the different activities and suggestions on what to do with the kits, keeping them engaged.
Thank you.
You're getting some. Listen, you're getting some love. You're getting some love.
I love that.
Well, I think first of all, we see that you have a very lovely community, and everyone loves you there. Everyone just has really nice words about you, and then you have very lovely customers as well. Because I suppose Lindsay is one of your customers, not one of your franchisees, and she speaks very highly and nicely.
No, she's a customer. I'm not paid her to just say that.
Usually the paid one sounds different. Don't worry.
But you know, but this brings me to quite a valid point as well. I mean, listen, there's a hell of a lot of power in mums in business, right? There is nothing like that with guys. You know, it's in the world of business, men are it's just there. But there seems to be a real community with women supporting them, each other in business. There's groups. Do you use Facebook groups? Do you use the sort of mums in business Facebook groups as well? Have you used
forums, Instagram, things like that? Yeah.
Lucy, do you want to go for it?
I'm a member of them. I think I'm a bit of a watcher. I tend to sort of soak up the bits that I think are applicable to me and sort of take that away and digest it.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody who's, I guess, constantly commenting. We are a member of sort of active professional Facebook groups, which we found really useful, especially in the last few months. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, we are a group of our own. I think we're really lucky in that respect, and we have got a guy in there as well, which is really lovely.
Okay.
Who is one of the latest franchisees. But yeah, I mean, being a mum business it's challenging, but it is one of the most amazing feelings when you are doing what you love doing. So yeah, I mean, I love it. I've never, despite everything that's happened with lockdown, it's certainly a faith that I don't regret in the slightest.
Yeah, I love that. So marketing wise, what do you guys do? Is this virtually organic? I mean, have you done much marketing on this? The reason I was asking about the Facebook groups is I wondered whether you actually put yourself and put posts in those groups, because I do know that there are a lot of people that utilize groups like that to get out there. Of course, I'm not trying to be sexist here, saying that it's just aimed at mums, but I would have thought that probably mums are the people that would maybe come to you first. However, there are a lot of single dads. I've been, in essence, a single dad. I know he's not been with me, but I'm, without girlfriends or whatever. I've always brought up my youngest on my own on the weekends. So I would be the one to be proactive to maybe find out activities that he could have done when he was younger. That's why I was asking. But so what sort of marketing do you do? Do you do much marketing? Do you do it by word of mouth, or how do you work?
Predominantly, I started all on Facebook. I've learned a lot about Instagram, and more recently, especially in the last 6 months or so, but Facebook is generally where all the mums are hanging out. That's how I found when I first had the children, is about activities, events and stuff in my local area. I don't know how you get on. How do you find these things if you're not on Facebook? I have no idea. So that's where we mostly hang out, and we'll put a lot of our information. Instagram is growing hugely in this market. And that's where I find other mum-led businesses. And then, we tag each other in, and I don't know them from, I wouldn't walk down the street. I wouldn't necessarily recognize them, but we support each other in that way. Yeah. And that's how it grows, and the marketing organically as well. There's, I don't know if Lucy, you had probably a few on lockdown, especially like these follow loops and stuff like that, you grow a few, but it doesn't necessarily stick. We've done a few paid Facebook ads and a few paid Instagram ads. Okay. Not masses. Again, it's been very much organic and harnessing hashtags, which I've learned loads more recently. But then it's selling sites on Facebook, using that, plugging that in, being myself, and saying, oh, look at Little City, this is cool. Whatever we can use, because we don't have masses of budget for marketing. But then it's mums telling other mums, or mums are posting it. They've been to our event and they post us and tag us in on their Instagram post, and then we'll get people go, oh, can I book a birthday party? Yes, you can. That's how it works. Yeah.
So it absolutely proves that you mostly is organic. Did you get much off the paid ads? Did you sort of were they fairly successful or?
Ish, they're very hit and miss. I still don't quite understand them. And I love the metrics you get. They look really exciting. They don't seem to mean much. I think I could do with someone sitting me down and walking me through it. Some of them are really successful, and others you get nothing. Hello, Adrian.
I'll be more than happy to do that for free, to be honest. Anytime you want, Vicki.
Yeah. We'll give you some tips on that side for sure. I mean,
but I to be honest, I think in this industry, unless you go national, or to completely different new areas, maybe like I'm talking now, Cumbria, Northumberland, Scotland, things like that. Organic, it's one of the best ways. Groups, Facebook posts, events, especially events, and things like that. Just because people see events when they're looking for something, so that's why it's a bit easier. And if they're going to be interested in doing that, that's one of the best way to do marketing for your business and for all the franchisees. Right?
Yeah. And do you do events through Facebook? Is that what you use?
Yeah, absolutely. And then we can support each other. So we'll all link each other's events up, so there's more reach and people could see it, and then they go, oh look, my friend over there in that county, she'd invite like that. So yeah, or he obviously.
Very cool. And have you all become friends through this as well? Do you sort of become quite close, or is it still quite very business colleague relationship? Vicki, I'm going to ask you this.
They can't get away from me, can't they? What's wrong with my poor team? And I hope that Lucy will be the first person to tell me she didn't like it for sure. But absolutely, we've hung out now. Now we're allowed out every now and again. At least our kids play together. We have a very active WhatsApp group, possibly too active sometimes. It's very distracting. But I've only grown more and more respect and, soppy way, a lot of love for this team, that they are sticking with me and by me and with the business through this. And we are, working our bums off at the moment to reopen. We are totally committed to that. And I know they all are. A lovely team.
Well, it looks like so. That's why just again looking at the comments that you get and the other people that are your franchisees and they're talking in the live chat, in the live comments, it looks like you're a very united, let's say, community and all this. And I think that's why it's working so well, and that's why you were able to do all these things, just because you have. I think from what you describe, I can see you have more like partners in this, rather than obviously not employees and not just people that are there to sign a contract and that's it, job done. You don't really meet with them or talk with them anymore. It's more like proper real life partners that you can talk and evolve together in the same time.
Yeah, very much so. I don't, from my point of view, I don't want to be, there will be a common point where I need to step back operationally for sure. Yeah. But I'm not quite there yet. I like, and I hope it's helpful to the team as well, that they know that I'm doing the same thing that they're doing. I'm not just working at a higher level and I'm sat here on my, glass throne going, oh, you must do it this way. You must do it this way. I'm like, no, God, guys, which way should we do it? Because I don't know the answers, especially at the moment. I need the team to help me through this as much as they need me. So there's no answer. Still everybody's in these unprecedented times, and however they're long going to last. Who knows?
For sure. Well, Lizzie's made another comment. She said, "What about using your current customer database a bit more via email marketing? Is this something you currently do?"
We're dabbling, yes. I've learned. This is another thing I've achieved in lockdown, is I've learned how to use MailChimp. So that's been learning
a big task.
To the point that I was like, designing it, I had to palm off to our designer. I was like, I can't do this. I can do the content, designing it through me. Again, and using that, all those metrics in there, I want to be able to use more. We're only on newsletter number 2, I think, so we're still trying. But yeah, absolutely.
And I'm curious, once you set up a process, once you learn to use something new, you just create an SOP for that and things, and you just give it to all the people in the business, or?
I will do, yes, that's the plan. So when people sign up, they give us a rough area that they're in. So we'll be able to slice down all the different areas for that. And then I will give the guys, the free reign, this is your template, this is how you do it, but this is your newsletter now. Send it out to your customers. But I just want to make sure that I'm confident in it first before I can then share.
Yeah, I was asking more like in general. So for every process that you do,
absolutely. I tried and tested, or we'll trial some things in some areas. So Lucy will try some bits out. If it works in an area, brilliant, we'll roll it out other areas. And likewise, we'll try and test stuff all the time.
Okay.
This is this is the prime. Anybody who's watching or listening to this is the prime way to run a business, to build a business. From what you've done in the last 2 to 3 years. Kudos to you, Vicki, Lucy. You've coming on board and doing what you're doing and getting joined in. But to what you're doing and the answers you come up with, Vicki, immense, right? There's a lot that people can learn from this. Genuinely, what you've done it, and you're still trying and testing and tweaking, and doesn't matter what you're getting thrown at you. You've not luckily because you make your own luck, but you've got a team around you of franchisees, because it was the best way that you could feel to protect your brand, your business, without having to employ people. Very sensible, I think. Licensing is another way, of course, which you can do, and that's another way to do things. And we've talked about licensing in another show. And I think this is a really smart way of doing it. But now you have got that team. It's quite nice that you can work together. It's suddenly quite unusual for franchisors or franchise owners to want to do that, rather than having an egotistical view of this is mine, this is my bag, this is my baby. You can buy this off me and you can run this, and I'll give you some support, but you don't always get the support that they say they're going to. And I know plenty of people that taken coffee shops franchises on, which cost a damn sight more money than a business like yours would, to be fair. But you've got a bit more flexibility with yours. It's a hell of a lot more fun, and in fact you're able to adopt and adapt in some difficult periods as well, aren't you? So I think you've done an incredible job so far, and really, very, very, very interested in seeing where it's going to go from here as well. Anna Victoria is doing a crying, laughing face, and Kate Powell saying best team. Look at the love you guys are. Oh, it's good.
I don't pay them for that, Don't pay them anything.
No pressure on you, Vicki. Yeah, definitely no pressure on you here.
No pressure on me. This is true. Yeah.
Doesn't it feel nice though? Doesn't it feel nice to come and do something like this that you were nervous about? You don't feel nervous now, do you?
Oh no, not at all. This has been lovely, actually.
No.
It's fun being. So Anna was one of the persons actually that we had on our WhatsApp group listed all the things that we've achieved and thought about and done or changed in lockdown.
Yeah.
And flipping heck, I got really emotional about it. I was like, wow, we've done loads. It looks like we haven't done much. It feels like we haven't done much. It feels like I've just sat on my bum and hung out with the kids and watched a lot of Netflix. But really, we have been working constantly, just not physically, if that makes sense. So it's, I'm very lucky, very lucky.
It makes complete sense. Trust me, we know exactly where you're coming from, Vicki. Exactly where you're coming from. It does feel sometimes you've been working for months without going anywhere, but when you do look back at it and evaluate it, it's good to do that sometimes. I don't know about yourself, Vicki, but I always look forward. I'm looking 20 steps ahead.
Oh, totally, yeah.
Struggle to look back sometimes, but you have to. You've got to evaluate these. You've got to look at what you're doing and take care of what you're doing and understand that and learn from it and tweak, which is what you seem to do naturally. I think you probably take it for granted how much work you put in. And I'm not belittling what you do, Lucy. By the sounds of it, you've been absolutely, a great part of the team as well. Listen, you're here doing this, so you must be. And I know I did think it would be a really quite a nice dynamic getting you both on to have a franchise owner and the franchisee as well. Second franchisee, Lucy. I'm just kidding.
First the worst, second the best. No.
You know what? It's a bit like passing your driving test, isn't it? Anybody who passes the first time, they're never as good as the drivers that do it the second time, are they? Now it sounds like I'm belittling the first franchisee. Anna Victoria, I was due to launch Little City Norfolk in April, having quit my legal job of 12 years. Despite the disappointment of not being able to launch and the roller coaster of emotions during lockdown, I'm so proud to be part of this amazing team and haven't once regretted life's changing decision or regretted the life-changing decision. I think that's probably supposed to say. So good. Listen, you've got some great feeling going on around you. I feel good. I want to come and play. When can I
have absolutely any time.
My son's getting a bit big now. He's 11. I don't think he's going to play when I want to play there.
You can extend to that maybe a bit later, but I think you have so many possibilities, even with the online thing. I was thinking about some things while that's why usually I'm the quiet one, right? I talk rarely and I like to think in the background about stuff. But with the online, you can do so many. I think you can even obviously give parents the costumes and all that. You can do a Zoom with all of them and just put the parents as a patient, the kid as the doctor, whatever it is, the vet, and you guide them and tell them what to do. And I think in that way, again, kids can a bit more comfortable in front of camera and get used with all this, because let's be honest, in the next couple of years, I think kids are going to have Zoom lessons in school and all that, and they're going to get on the phones and videos way more often than before, and that's just going to prepare them for all those things, and they're going to get a bit more experienced, let's say, and know the difference between some of the things at an earlier age, and it's going to help them in life.
Very much so. Yeah, I think we've probably not explored all the ideas for this business yet at all.
It's impossible probably to explore all of them.
Absolutely. That's exciting. I think I'm not daunted by that whatsoever. I know Lucy isn't as well. She rings me. Oh no, it'll be on a Sunday evening. We got 5 minutes. Okay, what do we think about this? What do we think about this? And it'll usually be a gem of an idea that we can then just grow, and we'll put it to the group, and it gets bigger and it gets better. I hope.
So you have a board with I don't know, ideas, and people vote them whichever they want first. Do you have anything like that?
Almost. How I work is from a Gruffalo calendar, and usually a piece of paper that's got some Disney princesses on the other side of it. That's
I think the Disney princesses definitely make a love for it.
Yeah, they do.
Kate has gone, oi, that's me. I was only.
She's the first. Yeah, she's the first. Yeah.
Yeah, I gathered that. Yeah, and Wendy Bird has said, very proud of my daughter.
Hello, Wendy's mum.
We've had your mum and my mum on as well. Where's your mum, Adrian? Where's your mum, Lucy? What's going on here?
My mum's actually staying with us at the minute. She's reading a book. Yeah.
Lovely.
My mum is probably cooking something with my dad somewhere. Yeah, I know.
Well, listen, I think you're doing an incredible job. I mean, the fact that you're not daunted by, what is to come. You're getting through this bit. You're prepared for what is going to be, is a new chapter. And I think this is going to be a great chapter. I know you're going to make the most of it and, and smash whatever you guys are going to do. And the whole team, all 10 of your franchises, it's superb. Kudos to you. Seriously, I think you're doing a great job, guys. And I love your enthusiasm. I love your energy and the way you guys come across. And if I, we talked about before the show, I'm not going to mention that on air, but if I ever have another one, then that all the sort of people that I'd want to take my little one along to for sure. So that's superb. So where can everybody find you guys?
So the website is littlecityuk.com. And then you can find my main Facebook page, and then links all 10 other 10 branches all together, and also on Instagram, Little City Chelmsford, Little City UK, Little City Suffolk, all fairly straightforward. Find us all over. Yeah,
perfect, great stuff. And you're in Colchester,
yes.
And you're in Chelmsford. Go down here.
I am. Yes.
So Colchester, literally you just cover the Colchester area. What's your geographical area that you cover, Vicky?
So I'm North Essex, so I do Colchester, I do Clacton, Tiptree, all that kind of area, and then Lucy does Chelmsford and further, quite big patches.
And Witham, Malden, and Brentwood as well.
Okay, so you cover this area as well, and so tell us the exact geographical areas while we're here talking about it.
So we've also got Little City Braintree. So Beth covers Braintree, and she goes over to Dunmow and as far as Bishop Stortford. Okay. Cara does Southend, so she does that whole area down there as far as Billericay and Basildon kind of way. Yeah. And then we've got Natalie, who does we've called it West Essex, probably. We didn't want to call it Little City Romford because that sort of limits us, but it's she does Romford, Ilford, all that sort of area, as it were. And then Kate covers Suffolk. Predominantly it was West Suffolk to start with, but we've expanded and moved it around. Anna is up in Norfolk. We've got Louise in Little City Cambridge. Uh-huh. Chris is our male team member, bless him.
Hi, Chris.
And he does North Herts and North Beds. And then we've got Emily all the way over in the West Country in Bristol.
Okay.
So East and West. We just need to mix up in the middle. We need some more team members in the middle.
Yeah. So if anybody is interested in this, then what's the best thing to do, Vicky, to get to contact?
Have a scout around and look on our Facebook pages, Instagram pages, and website. And then there's a whole page about franchising on the website. So drop me an email with what you're interested in, roughly where you live, and I can send you all the info.
Great stuff, cool. And you've got any thoughts of going global on this? I mean, what's your vision now? I mean, you've got
the vision.
Yeah, do you have a vision for it, or are you just sort of it comes?
I should. I know I should. My years in corporate life, I should have a business plan and I should have a mission and a statement, all those sorts of things. I'm still finding my feet being a business owner. I'm still making this quite organic. My short-term aim is to get reopened. Mid-term aim is for us to all be confident in this and sell a couple more franchises, grow the team. Yeah. But I also need to take a step back myself operationally, so then I can go out. I'm not just running events myself. I can go out and support the team physically. Rather than just on the phone. And I want to see their lovely shiny faces a bit more often. So, then they really can't get away from me. But yeah, it is what it is. I started this, I hadn't a plan to franchise. That's just happened. And I'm really lucky that it has. We'll see where it goes. Who knows?
And the sort of timing and everything. I mean, Lucy, as a franchisee, I mean, you in essence are a franchisee in a way, Vicky, because obviously you're you're very active in doing what you do and running your area. But just one sort of last point. Sort of time that it takes when you are busy and you've got the parties organised and things like that. Is this something you can fit in amongst being a parent and having a normal business, normal personal life as well? Is it a good sort of marriage with that?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, I'm lucky in that I would run ordinarily 3 sessions in the week, and I would have at least one day at the weekend, every single weekend, with a birthday party. I mean, I'm very lucky. I've got a husband who is very hands-on, and we've got 2 lovely children who are the absolute joy of our lives as well. So ultimately, this is for them. Sometimes, my son would come and help me set up birthday parties and basically chatting to the birthday child. So it does fit in. It's very obviously child friendly. And I am only out a very small part of the day. Often I'm back before 2:00 in the afternoon in the week. So it's perfect in that sense. I'm able to pick my son up from school. And that wouldn't have been something I would have been able to do working 5 days a week. As a nursery manager, I was often home at about 7:00 at night. So it fits in amazingly.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, I thought it's good. I meant to ask earlier on, but I think it's a valid point. I think it's a good thing to ask because if you are going to take on something like this, how are you going to fit that in with your family life as well when there is some sort of normality going on, whatever the hell that is these days. But well, listen, I've really enjoyed talking to you guys. It's put a big smile on my face. I can imagine the fun you have with not just with running the business, but for the kids as well. So Adrian, there's a business for you in Romania when you drop a little one, right?
I already thought about that, yeah. So while you were talking, I thought about franchising in Romania. Yeah. Talking with Vicky about that.
We'll take it.
No, but to be honest, I'm at an age, I'm 30. I'm going to be 31st next month, and most of my friends, they have kids. They are at that age where they have between 1-year-old and 5-year-old kids, things like that. And they all need, in my opinion, they all need things like that. And they're looking for things like this, especially birthday parties and all those. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There's your first international one, eh?
Okay, let's go for it.
Shit.
The legal fees. Yeah, I don't want that. Yeah.
All right, listen, I've really enjoyed talking to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
We'll make sure there's links around so you can find out. But I urge you to listen to this podcast because or watch this because as a business owner, if you want to set a business up, there's a lot of lessons to be learned here. Vicky's been through it. Lucy's been through it as well, and you've definitely been through some difficult months and coming out the other end of it with the right attitude, the right drive, the right enthusiasm, and the right energy, which is absolutely superb. So I love it, guys. Well done. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. Adrian, thank you very much for joining us all the way from Romania, of course. And so if you want to know what else we're doing at Essex Business Radio, and we've got some news coming up this month. I keep saying it, but keep watching, keep listening. Then you can find it all out on Essex Business Radio across pretty well every social media platform, apart from what the two which we're not on. TikTok yet and Pinterest. But otherwise, We're on all of those. Essex Biz Radio, BIZZ on Twitter. But if you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to subscribe, smash that like button, the ding, the bloody bell, whatever the hell it is, so you get alerted. And we are here Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings for the next couple of weeks. If you want to get on the show, by the way, then get in touch with us. There is a Elliot bot on the send message button on the Essex Business Radio Facebook page. In there, you can go through a few questions about getting on the show. So I urge you to do that as well. But otherwise, we're going to go for now, unfortunately. Thanks, ladies. Thank you, Adrian. And thanks, everybody, for listening and watching. So I'm going to say ciao for now.
Brown cow.